As much as I love this E3 for giving me so much of what I want, like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue, like the Rare Collection, I also kind of hated it. And maybe I'm just getting older and like being more cynical because I'm an old fart and I hate everything new and I just want things to be the same always. But I really don't like the trailers coming out for these games. Like, they don't show enough gameplay, and a lot of them are just CGI or like scripted trailers, and I don't really get the point behind CGI because you're saying like this is nothing like the final game is gonna be. So we spent money on it just to hopefully get you guys excited. And scripted trailers are okay. I mean, you kind of get a flavor for it, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of wish I could see someone play, you know? But we still get hyped about it. I mean, like, how can I complain when it does what it's supposed to do? If we all saw, like, they could have released a banner saying, "Hey, we're remaking Final Fantasy VII," and wouldn't we be just as hyped if that happened? I know I would, and I feel crap about it. But I feel like this whole console generation has been extremely lacking compared to others. We see these trailers that like just get us excited, but they're like total BS, and then we're disappointed when the final game comes out after we already gave them all our money, of course. Especially when it's barely playable with more bugs and glitches than your average Bethesda game. Games that care more about graphics and Final Fantasy trailers than being, fun, I feel like that's how games are nowadays. It's like, oh, let's just throw in a bunch of graphics, because that's what people want. I mean, they don't want gameplay. Gameplay's like yesterday. Like, it's like, not like, and plus we're getting all these remasters, right? Like, oh, remaster. We have a God of War 3 remaster, Gears of War. Like, do we really need these? I don't recall a lot of people asking for the original Gears of War being remade, and just remastering God of War 3 doesn't make any sense because it's the final game in a trilogy. You're missing the first two games that aren't even playable on the PS4, so why bother? I think it says a lot. Like, I remember looking at VG charts, and I know you're not supposed to use that, but whatever, who cares? Like, the best-selling game this generation is a game from last generation. It's the remaster of Grand Theft Auto 5. So what does that say about this generation when, like, 6 million units of Grand Theft Auto 5 got sold? And I'm sure most of those people already played it on the original systems. I know I'm just being cynical, but I don't have much hope on AAA gaming getting any better. I think it says a lot about the state of the industry when Halo 5, like a Halo game of all things, won't have split-screen multiplayer.
That's bad.
Which I know in the previous video I really hyped up, but it turns out since E3, they decided to release an announcement to cut split screen, and that wasn't made until like just a few days ago, which means they waited an entire month to tell us that. But that kind of proved my point, right? Like, all this hype and announcements were made about Halo 5, like it being the best in the series, and look at all this awesome stuff we're gonna do with multiplayer. But like an important tidbit of info wasn't given out until later. Like a month later, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, you can't play this with your friends on the couch like you always do." And I'm like, that's really crappy, and it just makes me depressed. Though at least they told us this ahead of time, right? Like, it took a month, but like I remember playing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and I know you guys hate it, but I actually really like it. I think it has solid multiplayer too, and I like playing with my friends. But that only has two-player split-screen multiplayer, and I didn't find this out until like me and my coworkers at work were all getting together. We bought our PS. We had like two PS4s, and we got like all these controllers. We're gonna like a big LAN party together and play Call of Duty, and then we found out, oh, it's only two-player split screen. And none of us knew that ahead of time, and it killed the entire night for us. So, like, I guess we're gonna have to play FIFA, which actually lets us play all together, right? And it was like, ugh. It's like, why are we getting rid of split screen multiplayer? Like, it's still relevant. Like, my fondest memories of Halo are me and my buddies sitting on a couch, playing Halo together. Halo 1, Halo 2, 3, 4, Reach. Every single one. Now, if we want to play, we're each gonna have to have our own Xbox One. We're gonna have our own copy of Halo 5 along with Live. I mean, that's like a lot of financial commitment they're asking of us, and we lose, like, even if we all did that and got to play online together, there's a certain sense of camaraderie that you get when you're playing on a couch. Like, why do we have to do this? Just because, like, I get, like, they want to do all this stuff with multiplayer, but, like, can't you just tone down the graphics a bit, or maybe, like, narrow your scope a little bit more so we can continue playing split-screen multiplayer and have it work? And I feel like that's essentially what this generation of gaming has become. Like last gen, but prettier with less substance. It actually kind of makes me worry about the industry. The insistence on everything having the latest graphics inflates budgets, and customers only tolerate like all these buggy games and BS for so long. I mean, I remember, like, if consumer confidence waits too much, people are gonna stop buying games, and the industry is gonna lose itself. And I'm worried that like there might be a crash like there was in the '80s. It's really telling that like my favorite game this year, like if I had to pick my #1 game this year, right now, I would pick Shovel Knight. I know it came out last year, but I only got around to playing it this year when it came out for the Vita. But Shovel Knight really eschews that style that games nowadays have in favor of substance.
That's good.
Remember that the sole reason we play games is for entertainment, and unfortunately, that's where the fun seems to be going nowadays. Like, it seems to be located in the indie scene, not in the AAA scene. Gamers are like starved for fun, for the familiar. I mean, how else can you explain why we throw so many millions of dollars at Kickstarters? We're essentially funding nostalgic games. We're not funding like, hey, I have this great idea for a new game, you guys should come check it out. I mean, it's really like, we're really just funding like spiritual sequels to games really like Banjo-Kazooie going with the ukulele. We have the new, I forget what the name is, but the new Symphony of Night essentially. And, like, we all cheered to hell when Final Fantasy VII was announced being remade. Go back and look, like, there's videos of people, like, crying and stuff about it being announced. I remember, like, so many of my videos on my YouTube feed was just people's reaction to it. Like, we really wanted it to be remade. It's like, have you ever seen people react that way to a game nowadays? Like, no, they love Final Fantasy VII. They love all these old games, and it just seems like we're getting further and further away, and I really haven't seen anything like this before. I mean, we've always had nostalgia, but never this bad, you know? Anyway, I'm hoping, like, publishers and developers take notes of this. Like, graphics are nice, but we want some substance and meat to go along with our game. I mean, like, it's like meeting someone who's really pretty, and you're like, oh, this person is so awesome, and then you start talking to them, and they're dense, and they can't really carry a conversation, because they don't know that's like, hey, you gotta be interesting, and ask questions, and reply, and to use more than just one-word answers, you know? Like, in essence, I want, like, gaming to be less Michael Bay and more Christopher Nolan, you know? It's like, Michael Bay is all about action and spectacle, and Nolan, like, has that, but he also has, like, this kind of intelligence behind his movies. Like, there's more to it. Like, you can get it just for the action, but there's also, like, inner depth to it. At least that's how I feel things are going. Are you guys the same, or am I just being, like, overly negative about things? Maybe I'm just getting older, and, like, my interests are changing, but the gaming industry is, like, following the masses, and this is what the masses want. Maybe I don't want it. I know some people, like, hey, I don't play split screen anymore. I play all by myself, and I'm like, I'm a loner too, but I love split screen. Let me know in the comments before. I really want, like, to talk about this, because this is something I've been thinking about for a long time. It's really kind of like, I want gaming to be more social than it is, and not just online social. I remember, like, it used to be great. It used to be something we could all get together and talk about, and now it's like, we're all becoming like me, which you probably shouldn't. One of me's enough for this world.